Hello. Welcome to another episode of Into the West Comics. My name is Frank. I'm here with Sonny.
What it do, brother?
Now listen, we had plans to do something originally. We talked last week. We were doing some snack size episodes last week over the weekend. If you guys didn't check those out, go ahead and check out our YouTube channel. We put out 3 episodes last weekend. Some smaller versions of those episodes. We had a plan to do something like that, similar to that we did last week. We're going to do that this week.
Right.
But then something happened, and then since then something else has happened.
Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting week. I think the go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I think the news from today was pretty crazy, but the episode that we just got from Mandalorian was insane. By the way, we have somebody else in the studio.
We do.
I'm going to give him a little introduction.
Hey, hot dog.
There he is.
What it do, baby?
It's a hot dog.
I'm like that extra special guest that gets introduced later.
Yeah, much later. I was just going to go too hard into it, and I was like, no, this is...
No, it's good. It's good. Paul is here. He's back with us.
Yeah, thanks for coming back, buddy.
Absolutely. I love being
here. The episode.
The episode was crazy. We had to get the guys together again and talk about it and go over it. So many things that happened, but prior to that, we're going to go over really quick something that kind of came through, the Twitter sphere and everything else, announcements involving Warner Brothers Studios. Basically, beginning with Wonder Woman in a few weeks, every film through Warner Brothers is going to be out on HBO Max beginning on Christmas Day simultaneously. You can see it in the theater, and then you can see it on your couch.
Right. And I think we were mentioning that's kind of the coolest thing moving forward. You get to see everything exactly how you wanted to, get the reactions in the movie theater, and then when you want to see it the 2 and 3 times afterwards, you can go see it on the couch.
Yeah, or for people who aren't like us and just don't like going to movie theaters, they can watch it at home.
Right. It gives a good atmosphere for everybody that, it's kind of afraid still to kind of go out to the movie theaters, or if you plan on seeing it more than once or twice or 3 times, you can go home in the comfortability of your own home. I think the lineup that they put out was very surprising. I didn't think that they were going to release that many movies.
So they had there's basically 12 to 14 films that we know of. I mean, any movie that Warner Brothers is putting out next year is going to be on HBO Max, and there is no additional fee.
No, and that's the coolest part about everything. You get the subscription originally, and then when you get all these movies, it's just how are they going to plan this out though? Because they didn't give us any release dates. All we know is Christmas we're getting Wonder Woman.
Yeah. So I mean, basically, the movies that have been delayed and have been given new release dates, I think they're going to hold to those release dates, because you have to think some of these movies were movies that we would have seen this past summer.
Yeah. And
they're being delayed.
Yeah.
So movies like Dune, Matrix 4, Suicide Squad,
Mortal Kombat.
I didn't even know there was a new Mortal Kombat movie.
King Kong movie?
Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Looks really cool. I was actually talking to him. I was looking on YouTube kind of about the a loose review or a loose kind of speculation of what the movie was going to be. Not the plot, I guess, but it sounds really cool the way they're kind of putting Kong versus Godzilla, and they're both technically the good guys of the movie, and there's someone manipulating them, of course, and of course it's going to be some gigantic, huge monster movie in Japan, or something's going to get blown up, and it's going to be some crazy war scenes and stuff, but it's going to be interesting. I'm excited for it.
So with these movies being released simultaneously, are you going to spend the time and the money to go see these movies in the theater, or is it just you look at that list and you go, well, I'm going to see that in the theater?
I think, like, for us, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to go still see the movies in theaters, unless it's one that we're not.
I am.
Yeah, watching Wonder Woman at home on my couch for the first time doesn't sound like as much fun as watching it in the movie theaters.
Right. Some of those movies that you're going to see, they don't look like there's like a big... You can see the trailer and you start to see a little bit of footage of the film, and you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to see that in the movies. I'm going to just watch it at home. Some of the movies that you're going to see, the special effects or whatever, and like, I don't know, like there's going to be some like comedy films or something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe you don't want to see that in the theater. Maybe you do. I don't know. I still go to the theaters regardless.
I was gonna say that. I think just for the fact that we haven't had movies in a while, I think I would just go if there was like a new like Nutty Professor, I would go see it. You know what I mean? I think the fact that it's a new movie alone, I'd go to the movies.
Well,
I think for things that like fly under my radar more or less, like comedy movies, like I don't really pay attention to like when a comedy's being released unless it's like someone says something to me about it. For those, it would be like I wouldn't even realize it was just released on HBO Max. I'm like, oh, this looks good. Let me watch it. And they're like, oh, it just came out.
Right.
Is that making sense?
Right.
Like I wouldn't even cross my mind going to the theater because I wouldn't even realize it was a movie that was in theaters.
but everything is with convenience.
Right.
Yeah.
You're talking about that you don't have to go anywhere.
No.
And now the way that this format, it looks like at least it's going to be happening for HBO Max. We don't know if other streaming platforms are going to follow suit. We know that Netflix has offered a lot of money to have the rights to stream the James Bond film.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I think that HBO Max / Warner Brothers making this type of an announcement means that they see for the foreseeable future a lot of movie theaters are not going to be reopening. A lot of movie theaters are not going to have that accessibility. We know that Regal Cinema is closed. Regal Cinema might not reopen again.
Yeah, man, that sucks.
It might be done. Okay.
Well, yeah, this is fast tracking what a lot of people thought could happen to the film industry in like 5-10 years, and it's happening now for a myriad of reasons.
That's a good point. You know, I think when streaming services came out, I'm sure people in the industry were like, "This can't be a thing." You know, this is impossible. Now we spent millions and hundreds of millions on all these movies, and we're not going to be getting the same money back. I mean, we've talked about it millions of times here. Tenet was supposed to do way bigger, way crazier numbers, and I think did half of that.
Tenet's the reason this is happening.
Yeah,
I mean, might be
because they put it out and it did good. I went to go see it twice, but half of everybody else didn't go see it once, and everybody now knows. Oh yeah, if I could play this at my own house just because I have the subscription, or if I mean, it's more of an incentive to keep your subscription, to renew your subscription. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's hard to see the future with no movies in movie theaters.
So the $100 million question, or the $1 billion question, I guess I would ask you guys, is if HBO Max is going to go this route, or Warner Brothers is going to go this route, and they're going to say our movies are going to be on the streaming service and they're going to be available in the theater the same day, you have the option to do either. Is this going to begin to put the pressure on Plus that just made you pay extra money to watch Mulan? Yeah. We didn't really mention this by the beginning. HBO Max is not charging an additional fee for you to get these movies to watch them.
If you're subscribed and the movie's
it's
out,
included.
You're good.
There's no additional cost.
No.
Yeah, this is I think a rare moment where Disney's behind.
We're not sponsored by HBO Max, by the way.
I mean, maybe we're.
Shut up.
Or hopefully in the
future.
We'll take it. Yeah. Sure. But no, I think Disney's kind of behind the 8 ball on this because that's clearly the way to do it.
Oh, man. Easy.
Like, would you pay, not even, HBO Max isn't even bumping up the monthly price, but like, let's say, would you pay an extra $2 a month knowing you're going to get every movie release rather than pay an extra $15 for a movie like Mulan? Yeah. Like, if Mulan was free on Disney Plus, would you watch it?
Yeah.
If it's $15, are you going to watch it?
No.
I'm paying for Plus right now, or as
You're
I call it,
paying for the Mandalorian.
I'm playing the Mandalorian
You're paying
channel.
for the Mandalorian channel.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think being able to see, any Star Wars movie that you want, being able to see any Marvel movie that you want is really cool. Is that holding the fact that I need to have this subscription? I think
or prescription.
It is kind of like the Mandalorian at this point. I have to see it, but that's what held you for the first run around of it was the Mandalorian. They were supposed to have all these shows out by now.
Yeah. They're dangling Scarlet WandaVision, and all these other things, but we haven't gotten them yet.
No. And I'm still waiting for a trailer of half of these other ones, I'm sure they have footage that they could put out. They
just started shooting the Hawkeye series. So.
Yeah, we got the actress for
Haley Steinfeld.
She was in the Bumblebee movie.
Yeah.
I don't know anything else.
She was in True Grit. She was in the True Grit remake a few years back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That movie was good.
I hope they do something good with this because we need some more stuff to watch.
I'm in favor of, if Disney Plus is going to go this route, I don't think that they should be trying to increase any fees
No.
for whatever. But you get your subscription for Disney Plus for the Plus, it's like an annual fee.
Yeah.
It's not that expensive.
No.
So what if they go this route with HBO Max? What if they say that after a year, all of your stuff is included after a year, that you pay whatever HBO Max is? What is it, $14, $15 a month?
I think it's $15.99.
Yeah.
So then they go in 2022, January of 2022, they say, you want HBO Max, now it's $17 a month or $18 a month or something. I mean, that's what Netflix has basically done with their gradual price hikes.
They just did that again.
Yeah, I just got, every time I've gone on Netflix in the past 3 days, it's been like, your subscription is now $13.99.
So they're going to give you like a little bit of a pump up as far as price goes.
For sure.
So, I mean, if that's the model that we're going to, instead of cable, we all have like 7 different streaming services.
It's true.
I mean, I guess what I'm trying to get to is Disney kind of needs to make a decision. Plus needs to make a decision what they want to do with their model going forward, because let's be honest, Plus is geared more towards kids.
Yeah.
And the majority of their content is for young people.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
not for the 3 guys sitting here.
No.
4 guys.
And we kind of talked, I don't know if we talked about it before last time or excuse me, during the show, but we talked about kind of like, is Disney Plus going to start putting more adult rated things on their things? And you guys were like, nah, no way. I think they might kind of have to if they want to compete.
They might not have an option.
I
now.
heard something about that. Like that could be a future move of them putting like a password lock safe to where they could only, like, if in the future, if the Punisher comes back and
Disney After Dark.
something, Disney plus or whatever,
Plus.
Late night plus.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Something though, where you'd have to have your own password, or there's like another wall between the regular setup.
Disney minus.
Yeah, we're on to something over here.
We're gonna have to table that and wait and see how this develops and how this starts to unfold. We do want to mention also, guys, that a couple things came up a few weeks back. We weren't able to do the live episode as we had planned, but we are going to come back for a live episode December 18th.
Yep.
It's going to be a Friday night. That is the day that the Mandalorian's season finale is going to hit the Plus. So we're going to have a review as far as the season goes. We're going to do some. We'll do some. What's that?
Wild speculation.
What speculation is going to be out of control. We're going to do some predictions for what we think is going to be happening going forward with this show, and possibly some other Disney Plus type of ideas. But guys, we've got to get into this Mando review.
Oh man,
and we have to talk about this episode. For you, Sonny, what was the biggest moment? Was it that Ahsoka Tano and just the white lightsabers and just how ridiculously awesome she looked? Was it the name drop, the 2 name drops? Was it the name drop of Grogu?
We finally got a name. I think the coolest part about that was that's why they didn't want him to be called Baby Yoda. He had a name the whole time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ahsoka, her lightsaber skills, insane. Crazy.
It was nuts.
I think we were talking about that. Just for being in the first 15 seconds, I'm thinking we might get her at the end for 5 minutes. Insane. It was insane. I think
Immediately.
I thought, I don't know, it's too much to kind of cover on that. What do I think was the best part or moment though? Was the end name drop.
So we're speaking, of course, about what name, Paul? What are we talking about? Who?
It's Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah, he makes Moff Gideon look like a water boy, dude. Like he's not nice at all. And I think we find out that she's been searching for him this whole time. Does that mean where we left off in all of the animated stuff and Rebels and everything, is she still searching for her friend? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
It brings so much more to this. I don't know, man. What was your favorite moment?
I agree with you. My favorite moment, like the biggest moment, I think, was I agree. The name drop. Because it's like we knew Ahsoka was going to be in the show at some point.
Right.
Maybe not as much as she was, but we knew she was going to be there. But I don't know about you guys. I was completely blindsided. I was like, holy moly.
Yeah.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't see that coming.
I did
And-
not think that they were going to put him in.
And
there.
I've been rewatching because I didn't really watch them when they were coming. I've been rewatching Clone Wars and Rebels and
Mhm.
stuff, and so for that to be like so fresh in my memory, and then that pop, I'm like,
Awesome.
But I think my favorite moment in the show, other than that, was it was quick, but the little fight between Din and Ahsoka, because we've heard for so long the great rivalry between the Mandalorians and the Jedi, and we actually got to see them fight for a second and see
Little
maybe
quick
what it
second.
would be like.
Mm-hmm.
That was so cool to me.
I agree.
It was pretty crazy. I mean, that's something you're thinking about when you're like, I mean, you first saw a Star Wars film was over 40 years ago. So we're thinking this whole time is like Boba Fett is like the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then you're thinking like all this hypothetical, like
Well,
to
what
actually
if?
see a Mandalorian in Mandalorian armor face off with a Jedi. You're not thinking that you're going to see it. You're not thinking
No.
that you're going to see it
Not at all.
with a Jedi Knight that's in their prime. Essentially, she's a mature Jedi Knight who's experienced. The white lightsabers were like ridiculous. She was great. She was really
really good. And
she was really good.
anybody hating needs to rewatch this episode. Like, easy.
I don't understand how you could. I don't know. I understand how you could
I don't
dislike
get it.
this episode. Like, how do you? It felt like a movie. It didn't feel like I was watching a
It
TV
did.
show. It felt like I was watching. A
It,
movie.
it felt like a chapter in Star Wars that I had already been watching for the past hour and 30 minutes, and this was the end fight.
Yep.
You know?
Was that episode the best episode of Mandalorian?
Hands down.
Okay, was that episode better than any of the 3 Disney Star Wars movies?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
It-
Yes, it was.
pretty great.
What are you going to disagree?
I'm gonna disagree. I like the Last Jedi more, but
All right.
All right.
you know,
That's a pretty good one, though.
I think it's
That's
a good.
the best one.
I think it's a good point, though. I think the fact that you can even compare it to them is
huge. That's a achievement in itself. You know.
exactly.
The Western kind of vibes you got when Mando was like, what was the other assassin's name? I can't think of his name. The other mercenary. They're kind of having their standoff, and then you kind of get like samurai kind of vibes when
Mhm.
Yeah.
the other fight's going on. By the way, that character was made up just for Mandalorian, and it's Bruce Lee's goddaughter. She's a stunt woman.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The magistrate.
Yeah.
The
Magistrate.
one that has
I thought-
a showdown with Ahsoka.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about
She,
the other
she,
guy.
yeah, she's the goddaughter of Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
That's
Goddaughter
right.
of Bruce Lee. So
Yeah.
that's a pretty cool little nod. The way they shot that, where Ahsoka takes off the cloak and like the wind kind of catches her lightsaber and it kind of singes a little bit, like just the little details, man.
They did such a good job with this episode. I can't imagine that there were people after episode 2
Right?
they wanted to boycott
No,
the
seriously.
Mandalorian because of frog eggs and everything else that was going on. It was so bizarre. How
is
far
bizarre.
we've come,
It is bizarre.
in just 4 episodes.
No, seriously.
It's crazy.
And then we're talking so far into Ahsoka, we didn't even get time to shine on. We got a Grogu, we got a name drop.
Yeah.
He was taken into safety when everything was going down. Who do you think saved him?
oh my gosh, there's a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of ideas.
And he mentions the freaking go here where I don't remember where she told him to go exactly, but and reach out and a Jedi might find you, and it's like,
Who's gonna reach
is
out?
it gonna be because Grand Admiral Thrawn? Is it gonna be Ezra? Is it gonna be
That would be interesting.
Is it gonna be Luke?
That's who I think it's gonna be personally.
Who I'd
That's-
like it to be.
That would be cool.
You know who I would just left field would like to just go through a little bit of a dark hole, not a dark hole, but like,
I know who you're gonna say.
dude, Mace Windu.
That's what I thought. Yes, that would be dope. If he saved him,
If he saved him
if he
after
saved him from the temple,
after he
and-
fell, he didn't die. You know, we've seen Jedi's fall from great distances
Darth
prior.
Maul.
He's
Yeah.
they're like cats.
Yeah, what if he has some type of he's I don't know. He was affected by the force lightning or whatever. He fell. Grogu helps him in some type of healing process with his force powers or something. I don't know, but like just imagine we have a Mace Windu back still with the purple lightsaber. Maybe if he caught it or something like that. I think the fact that we didn't see a body, that's like the main thing in every movie and every TV show. If you didn't see the body, they're probably not dead. They have a chance to come back. You know what I mean?
That's what I learned from the Friday the 13th movie.
Bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you think who saved him and who answers the call can be two different people. And then the show is going to be huge. You got way too many different outlets to what things are going to go on, you know?
And do we have another show coming out of this? Do we have an Ahsoka Tano show?
Absolutely. We
It-
probably have a
it
Boba
sounds
Fett
like
show
it.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
we got him in that, and then he's just been nowhere.
You know what the craziest thing about that episode? You know how good it was? It made us forget that Boba Fett was in the show.
Right.
It made us forget about
Yeah.
how excited we were for how long we've been
Right.
excited for Boba Fett.
That was
to
what
be
I
in
was
this.
stoked for the whole time. I was like, dude, Boba Fett's back. You know, we gonna get something crazy.
They've totally expanded this world, and they've still left a lot of questions unanswered.
A lot.
Going forward, before the season ends, who do you think it's more likely that are we going to get a more surprising reveal, or are we going to get another reveal that we weren't expecting? Are we going to get Luke Skywalker? Are we going to get Mace Windu? Are we going to get Ezra Bridger? Are we going to get
So there's a bunch of
Somebody
Jedis.
else.
There's a bunch of Jedi. Oh, I know. All right. So you were trying to say this earlier. Who are you like keeping hidden that you think is alive still out there? Because there's a lot of Jedis that survived the Great Jedi Purge.
of the Jedis that were purged? I'm not really thinking anybody except Mace Windu,
Okay.
but
So you're thinking it could be somebody else.
I'm thinking that we could be getting a feature of a Darth person, a potential Sith Lord.
Hmm.
And we had mentioned him briefly before. We had talked about it, and I think actually Donovan had talked about him once before too. I think I want to say he's Darth Revan.
That's my favorite,
Oh,
dude.
okay.
You think he was involved, huh?
I think he could have been. I think he could be okay. I think he can end up making a cameo at the end, because what I think is going to happen with this show is Ahsoka Tano could be one more episode before the season ends,
Mhm.
and then she's not going to be on Mandalorian anymore.
No.
because she's going to be in her own series.
Agreed.
We've heard
Agreed.
as of yesterday that Rosario Dawson is signed for 3 Star Wars films.
Yeah.
So she could do a movie. They could do one series with her, or they could call it it's like a live action version of Rebels, whatever they're going to call the
Right,
series.
right.
It can be her,
That'd be interesting.
Sabine, Bo-Katan. I mean, they could have whatever direction they want to go
Captain
in.
Rex. That could have been Rex.
It-
Could have been.
It could have been Rex. It might not
Boba
have been
Fett.
Boba
It's
Fett.
not Rex.
Okay. So there's all kinds of different avenues that we could have had. So then at the end of the at the end of the season, what do you think? What do you think this show goes? Like, what direction do you think that this show goes? And then we've got 3 episodes left. There's so much that can happen before the end of the season.
I think that we have some sort of climax in that we find who's going to train Grogu. I would like it to be Luke. I'm in the same boat as Sonny. I want it to be Luke, but I think it's more likely that it ends up being Ezra, especially because Grand Admiral Thrawn was mentioned,
Mhm.
and he hasn't been cast in live action.
Mhm.
So it's like, would we really hear any rumors about somebody being cast as Ezra Bridger? More likely, we would hear something. Oh, Mark Hamill's going to be back. We would have heard that by now.
Right.
So
He voiced the robot bartender in the first episode in the bar when Mando
Right.
showed up. So he's involved.
it's possible.
I think the wow factor is what they're going for, and I think the surprise factor is also what they're going for, because we have no idea.
They've got it.
Mhm.
I mean, this past episode was like, what? I think I was telling you guys in the group chat, I'm watching this episode by myself, and she says Grand Admiral Thrawn. I go, what's she saying? I was watching the episode
Alone,
I was
right?
watching
Yeah.
it by myself.
Excuse me?
I was like, what did she say? Like, I'm asking someone. No
What
one,
did she
there's no one there.
say?
Yes. I was like, huh?
I think the suspense that they have with this season is crazy. I
Mhm.
mean, to say that they one upped on this season is understatement.
I understand.
They did. Absolutely,
And
they
I
did.
think after this season, at least for the start of next season, it's gonna get pulled right back a little bit. Like, we got all this stuff winding up.
Possibly. I think what they're gonna do is it's almost gonna be like the Walking Dead effect. You know, like this was the introducer to the Ahsoka Tano. It could be I don't know. I don't want to say the Boba Fett because we don't know if it's Boba Fett, but it could be the Boba Fett. Whatever happens in season 2, or we get Ezra. It's just gonna be kind of like a tree of all these different kind of things. Because the Walking Dead has Fear that's coming back and doing their thing, and then they have the World Beyond, and then there's supposed to be the Rick Grimes movie and all this kind of stuff. So I think this was just the introducing. This was the amuse bouche of the Disney Plus. for everything out Star Wars
The Amuse
related.
Plus.
The Amuse Plus.
The small bite.
You know, I think we just got another T-shirt idea.
I love it. The big letters.
But seriously though, I think we're gonna get a lot more after the ending of this, and I'm hoping we get a crazy Jedi that's gonna be answering the call, or a Sith.
Well, yeah, unknowingly, the Mandalorian could take Grogu to a potential Sith.
Right. This
That
could be like a whole different story than we're thinking. We're thinking there's going to be saviors.
He doesn't
and
have a
some-
name, and then you find out that he is a Sith,
Mhm.
and he's left him with it. He's left Grogu with the Sith Lord.
You find out like when they go to train, he ignites the saber and it's red, and then season finale.
And then the next season.
Well, okay,
Okay.
but the first season ended with a dark saber, right?
It did.
That's not a bad idea, Sonny.
No. And then that could lead into the next season, keep people coming back. Is the Mandalorian, when is Din gonna find out? And when he gets back, how is he gonna take this guy out
Right.
and save Grogu?
Then he's gonna be floored that he left the child with the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
This show takes a whole different turn. We're thinking it's gonna be something good, and Luke's gonna come, and it's the Force, and everything's gonna be good. But it could be a little darker.
Oh man,
That just changed everything up.
Yeah, you did.
to be continued. We have we wanted to mention really quick. In this past week, we lost the actor that played Darth Vader
Darth Vader
in the original Star Wars trilogy. David Prowse passed away over the weekend, and I kind of wanted to talk really quick about some of your memories of what you had growing up about just Darth Vader as a character.
Yeah.
And it was I wanted to get into some other stuff with you guys about that, but tell me about a memory you had of Darth Vader, just the character in the movie or animated or whatever, comic books, whatever.
He was just the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Like still to this day, he's the coolest movie character, book, whatever that I have ever seen. And he was large. He was a daunting figure.
Yep.
That's thanks to David Prowse
Mhm.
and his voice, James Earl Jones. Just an absolute I don't think you could possibly come up with a better character.
It's a powerhouse of a villain.
No,
And-
right.
He's also a nuanced character in a lot of ways. He's not just the bad guy.
Right.
He's terrifying, but he also there's a comic with him and Darth Maul in it, and they fight, and he kills or doesn't kill him. He beats Darth Maul, and Darth Maul's like, "What could you possibly hate enough to beat me?" And he's like, "Myself." And that's that kind of depth that Darth Vader has that isn't always executed the best, like in the prequels or something like that.
Right.
But it's there.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth. There's a
Little
lot
shade
of
on the
depth.
prequels there. Had
A little bit. I'll sprinkle that in at the end. I think, like you said, the depth behind the character. If you come into one of these new Star Wars films and you're like, "Oh man, this guy's super badass. He's crazy,"
Mm-hmm.
is like, why is he so crazy? Why is he so hateful? And then you kind of go back into. It's one of those characters where you kind of feel like his pain. You know what I mean? You kind of
Right.
understand like why he's like that. Most iconic like helmet or even single shot. You put that up, everybody's gonna know.
I remember watching Revenge of the Sith with my son, who was like, my son's not much younger than you are, and I remember that he was a little guy,
Mhm.
and we're watching the thing, and Darth Vader's on like the table at the end, and he's like rising up like Frankenstein,
Mm-hmm.
type of thing, and I can remember my kid like, what, like, it's like it's just
Right,
like
and
a
you're freaking out.
yeah, I'm like, dude, this is like a crazy feeling. He's such an iconic character, not
Yeah.
just villain, but
Yeah.
he's such an iconic character for film.
Agreed.
And all this stuff that's happened, like with Clone Wars, if you watch Clone Wars, it gives you so much context to the prequel films, but it gives you so much context to Anakin / Darth Vader
Yeah.
as a character.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So much context and layer to him.
He was an awesome character, and rest in peace to David Prowse. It was an awesome character for him to play. It was like that's a once in a lifetime type role,
Oh, absolutely.
for you to have.
Absolutely.
I wanted to go over really quick. We was talking about Vader as being like one of those a go-to or iconic villain that you would automatically be thinking about as like being a big name villain in
Mhm.
like a top like all your movies that you've watched over the years.
Mhm.
You know, there's tons of guys that you're like, oh, I hate that guy, that
Right.
bad guy. Oh, he's crazy. But then you have like a respect for them
Right.
type of thing.
Right.
So I kind of wanted to go around and see what you would list as your top three. You can have some honorable mentions, some guys that maybe just made the cut, but
Yeah.
some guys that you would list as iconic villains for film.
Go ahead,
or
Paul. You
Okay.
go first.
I'll start. So I tried to make it a little harder on myself, and so we didn't all have the same freaking answer again.
Right.
I was trying to pick villains who, in movies, who weren't based off of books or comics or video games or anything like that.
Hmm.
So the ones I want to mention, honorable mention, it's not one character. It's the aliens from the Alien franchise and the Klingons from Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I like that.
everyone knows the aliens.
Everybody knows
Everyone knows the Klingons.
for sure.
And now my top three. Number 3, Mr. Smith from The Matrix.
Yes,
That's
dude.
dope.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. He's in my honorable mentions. Yes,
Mr.
dude.
Smith from The Matrix, because he's such an
like that.
original character. He's the thing that you walk away from The Matrix remembering.
Yep.
And it just absolutely the coolest fight scenes.
Yep.
An incredible villain. And then number 2, technically this is kind of like Aliens, but I'm talking about the first one. Number 2 most iconic movie villain, the Predator from the first Predator. He's
That's up there too.
global icon, freaking movies on movies on movies. They're even making a new one,
Yeah,
which I heard is going to be like taking place like in the past, which sounds incredible.
that'd be interesting. I'm game for that.
And then number 1, we were just talking about him, Darth Vader.
The man,
Yep.
Boom.
Darth Vader. I'm not mad at that list. That's solid. I if I were to do just a top 3, I would put Darth Vader up there. Probably as, I don't know. My number 2 is Heath Ledger Joker. Icon, changed the game. The Joker's character himself is an iconic character, but I think Heath Ledger himself did like the best job.
Chef's
Uh-huh.
kiss.
Chef's kiss. I think for iconic in pop culture and for what we watch and look at, Thanos.
Nice.
Thanos is my third.
Mm-hmm.
He's done crazy for everything in the Avengers. Even before people got onto the movies, he was crazy back then. You know
Right.
what I mean? If you go back and look at some research on Thanos, he's a bad guy. You know,
And he might not be done.
he's definitely not. I mean,
No.
there's still more to it.
Yeah.
The Mad Titan. I think.
He's defined movie villains for this generation. The kids
Yeah.
growing up now.
Mhm.
He's in a lot of ways the Darth Vader of this generation's kids.
I would say that. I would
That's
agree
good.
to that.
I like that.
What's your top 3?
So, I mean, Darth Vader is my number 1 because he's iconic.
Bless you.
He's an iconic character. I mean, he has the vibes of being, you know, a cool, dark, mysterious, powerful villain. He has the Frankenstein's monster vibe.
Mm-hmm.
He is mysterious because you don't really know what's under that mask.
Right.
You know, he gives you that there's like that edginess to him, and then you find out years and years later all the background context to him,
Which
and his
makes
life.
him even cooler.
Yeah, what makes it even cooler character. I would say, and I think they should have called the movie Joker instead of The Dark Knight, but Heath Ledger
fair.
playing the Joker was incredible. It's the introduction of him as a character in the movie.
Oh my god.
That's just
dude.
you can play that scene out in your head, like how
Scene for scene,
how,
word for word.
how crazy it is.
If sorry, if we
okay.
were doing a list of best movie openings ever, that's number 1.
Yeah,
That is
that's
for
up
me
there.
the best
It's-
opening to a film,
It's pretty
ever.
great.
and thanks to Heath Ledger.
I think it would be really, really cool if Heath Ledger was still alive and we were able to do a live action 3 Jokers, and to have like Heath Ledger, and then maybe Leto, you know, but like Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger in a room trying to out Joker the Joker I think would be too much right now. You know what I mean?
It'd be pretty nuts.
I think to see like the comedian versus the criminal. You know what I mean? If you were to pick a third Joker to be in that mix, would you pick the OG
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson?
Easily.
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
That
so
would
he would play the comedian.
He would be the comedian.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I think the clown was the comedian, the clown, and the
Criminal.
The criminal. I think the criminal would be, of course, Heath Ledger, and then we got Joaquin Phoenix being the clown, like he portrayed himself. Enter the Clown. Oh,
that would be great. Oh, my other villain. I mean, it's just kind of, it probably seems a little bit out of left field because I just like this actor and I think that his voice and the character, like he nailed it. It's an animated film, but it's probably one of my favorite animated movies. Scar from The Lion King.
Oh,
because he's like so just jacked, and I mean he kills his brother. He's
a bad guy.
And then he blames his nephew. He's like, "It's your fault, Simba."
That's
whatever. It's like that's so jacked up.
That's pretty messed up.
But I mean, I would say that he's just
in iconic ways. Yes.
Yeah, he's dope. And Jeremy Irons is like, I mean, he's got a great voice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably in my. That's the top 3 for me.
I think I didn't even think of that, and I'm kind of mad about it.
No, that's a good one.
The Scar, that's incredible.
Scar's dope.
I think honorable mentions. I put Voldemort up there.
Mm-hmm.
I put T-1000, the Liquid Terminator.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That was dope. When he walked through the prison and his kind of gun got stuck instead, and the guy's face was like, "Oh my god!" Even the CGI back then used to creep me out when his like. It would be like the blade, and you'd think it was like 3D or something. I put Agent Smith. Hannibal Lecter.
Nice.
He's a bad guy. He's a really creepy bad guy. My favorite though, I had in capital letters, another one that changed the game for TV and bad guys is Negan. Negan from The Walking Dead was pretty.
Negan's a great character.
Was super iconic.
Yeah, great character. So good at being just cruel and brutal and vicious that they lost tons of viewers.
Oh yeah,
on The Walking Dead.
Oh yeah,
because of Negan.
Yeah,
there's people who were like, "I love Walking Dead. Every week I'm gonna watch it," and they're like, "No, I'm done." My son quit watching Walking Dead because of Negan.
Yeah, and it was because it's not the zombies at that point; it's the people are the bad guys, and he made sure, he made the governor look like. I don't know, like the scary cat.
You forgot Governor Who. Just like, yeah. Negan, just think about how impactful you are as a character, as a villain coming onto the scene. You people are talking about him, whatever, but then he shows up and then he does what he does and he gets you to stop watching a show.
Dude. Because if you knew Negan going into Walking Dead before you watched it, you'd be like, oh, this dude's pretty cruel. And then Jeffrey Dean Morgan puts like every ounce into that character, dude. Like just the way he talks, his mannerisms, the way he holds the bat over his shoulder. It's iconic. So
it's his delivery. And we were talking about this a few weeks back about how you don't think about Deadpool without thinking Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
Now I can't think about Negan in any comic books. I read Walking Dead since Jeffrey Dean Morgan has played Negan. I don't think about Negan now without hearing his voice and attaching it to it.
It's rare that a actor, in a way, claims a character as his own. I haven't really watched Walking Dead. I'm not the biggest Walking Dead guy, but I know Jeffrey Dean Morgan is incredible, and that doesn't surprise me at all.
Incredible. I think what he did for the show moving forward, even his character now. He's a staple, he's a powerhouse of a character. He led the Saviors. It was a crazy group of people, a huge, huge, huge army of people. And then he was cruel, and then he got his redemption, and then, he kind of came back. He's, like I said, he's iconic, and I didn't put him up there because there's top 3 is so hard, It
is.
Well, there's people that you guys have mentioned that I'm kicking myself for not putting, especially the T-1000. Or even
the
T-800.
Mr. Smith was really good. I was like thinking about that.
That was good
now.
for me.
Like after the fact, I was like, "Oh, Mr. Smith, that's a great character.
Yeah.
It's a great villain."
Or even the shark from Jaws. You don't think about him as a villain.
It's a villain,
but he is.
I got Dr. Evil on mine.
Okay.
Iconic villain.
No, you're right.
That's great.
100 million trillion for fillion. You know what I mean?
They get laser beams on their heads.
Dude, he's an
Yeah.
iconic villain.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't make a list like that and only say 3. It's hard.
Or even
Yeah.
what's his name? The Bond version of freaking Doctor Evil. What's his name?
Dr. No.
Christoph Waltz.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about. I don't know his
I don't
know his
remember
bad
his
guy
name.
name.
Well, he's obviously not that iconic. We can't remember his name. But
I know what you're talking about.
never mind.
The list can go on, man. The list is hard.
guys, we wanted to just thank you for listening and for tuning in, for checking us out. We want to mention again, December 18th, we're gonna have a live show. We're gonna be streaming live
Be there.
Friday night.
Yep.
Be there. We're gonna be having all of our minds blown again, probably by something ridiculous going to happen at the end of
I
Mandalorian
hope it's something
season
good.
2, and we'll be talking about our theories going forward for the 3rd season.
Yep.
Next week, we're going to get into probably some more snack size type of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be doing some new comic book day reviews. We're going to go over some stuff that we're reading. This is the first time since we've actually started the show that I did not pick up comic books on a Wednesday, on a new comic book Wednesday. This is kind of unusual for me. It's like
The world's ending.
that. Well, I thought like one of the guys was going to call me and say, "Are you okay?
Right.
Like, where are you?" Kind of thing. So that didn't happen, but But want to thank Paul for being here today. And,
Thanks, bro.
I always
taking
have
time
so
out.
much fun here. I absolutely, the fact that I was included in the text that, hey, we got to talk about this. I was like little butterflies or something. I was like, I'm
Yeah,
so
We had
excited.
to- you know what? We had to switch it up. I mean, because we were like, we're going to go this way. I was like, we have to talk about the episode. We've got to get people together. It's like, unfortunately, it didn't work out for Donovan. To be
Yeah, I
here
was gonna
tonight.
say
Oh,
shout
yeah,
out to
that's-
Donovan.
yeah,
He,
shout out
Yeah.
Donovan.
I know he was stoked, and he'll be on soon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Like and subscribe if you haven't. We really appreciate all the love.
Subscribe, follow the Instagram, follow.
Inside jokes going on in the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to comment down below, let us know your top 3 villains in movies, and maybe we'll pick a random entry, and we'll have something special for you next week. We'll announce a winner on the show next week.
Got something you want to say?
Everyone stay safe and have a wonderful time.
Boom.
Boom.
Go read some comics.
And wash your hands.
I stole yours. You said it better.
I got yours. Boom.
Later, guys.
See ya.